Hey guys, so I was watching this video about panic attacks, and the woman who's a licensed therapist basically said that when you have a panic attack, right? And again, panic attacks are a far more intense feeling than simply being stressed out that most people experience. Symptoms of anxiety or panic attack include pounding pounding heartbeat, trembling, sweating, shaking, difficulty breathing, terror that is almost paralyzing, dizziness, lightheadedness, churning stomach, acidity, indigestion, diarrhea, choking, chest pain, hot flashes or sudden chills, tingling in fingers or toes, also known as pins and needles. That people, when they have this whole confluence of symptoms, usually they're going to have like 2 or 3 major ones. They misinterpret, you could say, bodily sensations for the worst. For example, if you're having, she gave the example, if you're having heart palpitations, you may think you're having a heart attack. When in reality, it could be a sign of a panic attack, or you're having a panic attack. I know that tends to be kind of. I don't know if it's hasty generalization or if it's all or nothing thinking. It's definitely you're beginning to think that whatever body sensation you have has to be the worst, and that you're correct in that. People with anxiety, like me and people with anxiety, tend to look at their body sensations and say, well, it has to be the worst, right? Like just now I feel a bit chilly, so is it a fever? Is it the onset of COVID? You don't even think fever, you think straight to COVID, right? That's how people with anxiety go. They don't really look at and stop for a second and say, well, where did that thought come from and the thought before that? And so that's basically what she was talking about, how panic attacks in a way prevent us from just living a happy life. And she said the best kind of how do I explain this? The best kind of way of dealing with panic attacks is to kind of not ignore them, just to recognize what's going on, what's happening, and sit with it. So what does sit with it mean? Sit with it, I've heard it many times, right? Stay with it, sit with it. It means you basically allow the anxiety to continue attacking you, if that's what you feel it's doing, right? Or killing you, harming you, preventing you from living your life, right? You allow it to do that, and once you do that, you'll realize it'll go off on its own. It'll leave in about 5-10 minutes. Those are good word to live by. I mean, that's serious in terms of if you know the information about anxiety and panic attacks, then you'll know what to do when you have one. And that's a problem. A lot of people don't know the information. I highly recommend a channel called, I think it's called Free Therapy or something like that. I'll link it in the description. And this channel, I get a lot of my information from it, and they're straight up like doing what I'm doing, just on a more professional level. So if you guys don't want to watch my channel, it's too boring, go to their channel. It's the same thing. I'm not gonna take it personally. The point is, if people get help from psychology, right, then they'll understand. Like the problem is, well, a lot of people with anxiety don't really know. I was just reading the description of their channel. They don't really know what to do in terms of like concrete steps. They have no idea how to help themselves. They may know a lot about anxiety. They don't know how to help themselves. If that was me, I knew a lot about anxiety back then. I didn't really know how to help myself. Excuse me, I'm gonna eat a little bit because I'm hungry. It's just so good. I mean, you guys gotta eat this. It's poutine, super good. And you realize when you're doing exposures, you realize like there's some foods you like to eat and there's some foods you don't like to eat. You, in terms of like, no, I mean to say when you start doing exposures, you realize that what you fear, you may even like to a certain extent. So I'm gonna eat this because it's really yummy. I didn't rank the anxiety because it's at a 0 already. So, I mean, if it's at a 0, how much more can you rank it? Let's have one more bite and then talk a little more. Right. So panic attacks, I deal with them. Oh, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're having a panic attack, know that what you're thinking, for example, like I'm dying or like, I'm gonna die, is not true. The thing is, how do you know you're having a panic attack and you're not having a death, like a heart attack or something like that? Well, if it goes on for more than 5-10 minutes, it's a medical emergency, right? If it goes on for, I mean, the longest panic attack I ever had was probably, what, 20 minutes? Something like that. If you have panic attacks going above those, 20 minutes, and in terms of, I mean, if you have panic attacks that are really, really high for at least 5 minutes, and they don't really seem to be going down, give it another 5 minutes. And if you don't feel yourself improving, give yourself one more 5 minutes, and then you need to kind of think perhaps it is a medical thing. The most panic attacks resolve within about 20 minutes, so I wouldn't like worry too much if you just give it 5 more minutes and just kind of say to yourself, okay, I mean, it's possible it could be dying. It's possible it's a panic attack. Like, do I have a history of anxiety? Do I have a history of heart attacks or whatnot? And just try to stay with the evidence. Try to write down what you're thinking when you're having a panic attack. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna choke. My father's gonna choke. Everybody's gonna die. Just automatic negative. I don't know how to explain it. Just I've lived a horrible life. I'm ready to go. God, it's all gonna turn to black. Right? All those thoughts you think you're gonna have when you die. Write them all down, and then throw them out. I mean, if it makes you feel better, throw them out. Katie Morton says that in her YouTube video. Throw them out. I mean, it's a good idea. I did that once. It was whatever. I don't want to talk about that. It was a weird thing. I should make a video about that. We'll see. Okay, so someone did ask me in the comments, can you send me that video? And what I'm gonna do is link the channel for everybody, and I'll try to find the video for that person. I'll also link the video in the description, so people can basically find a channel that's doing what I'm doing, just way better. So yeah. All right. I feel like I haven't talked enough about what I want to talk about. So, I mean, I hope everyone out there is staying safe and everything. I find the, why did I say I find? I'm not sure. So yeah, I ate, as you guys saw in the beginning, if you were following along, I did eat most of the poutine. If you're wondering why I'm eating the rest, it's just like, the cheese is just, hard to explain. I can't eat all that cheese, and the rest of those fries, I don't know, it's whatever. I don't think anyone really cares. My mom would always be like, why don't you finish the last of your Coke? And I'd always have a little bit of Coke left and just deal with it. It's probably annoying for other people to clean up after me when I was growing up. So, I mean, there's not much else to say, guys. I mean, I'm just living my life here. Just, what I do want to talk about, which is very important, but my behavioral changes since the anxiety, since I've been doing exposure therapy. I've had behavioral changes. What happened is I started not praying and I started Well, you guys remember my first video, I said, okay, I gotta take my mental health seriously. And I was, weeping and moaning and crying and whatever, and I felt those emotions, and then what happened is my behavior started to change. I stopped praying as much. I mean, Muslims pray 5 times a day. I stopped praying. I used to pray 5 times a day, and then I just stopped. I said, I don't know. Another behavior change is I started eating twice a day. Sometimes I'd eat twice a day. So another behavior, I just started eating twice a day. I started thinking, I would eat once a day, and then I would think, well, that's it, I'm done, everything's, my exposure. I wouldn't even think before exposure. I would just eat that food, and then, be like, all right, it's done, right? I would think of it like, it's a burden in a way. It's like a challenge that I just don't really understand what the challenge is. And if I can just, do it, and I'm done. And now I started to eat twice a day sometimes. And snacking. I mean, I would snack before too, so that's nothing different. And then another behavior change is I started smoking. These behavior changes, I don't know how to explain it. They, how do I explain it? They are direct. I mean, I think they're related to my exposures and what I've been doing in terms of facing my fears. I think there's a direct relationship almost, because as Dr. Greenberger was talking about, when you change one of the 4, when you change your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, or your physical regulations, like your external functioning. So if you change your thoughts, your emotions, right? So again, your behaviors and your external functioning, if you change, one of them, the others will have a reciprocal relationship. So I changed one. I started doing exposure therapy. That's a, thought. I was thinking, I need to take my mental health seriously. And it led to a feeling of anger and passion. And then it led to the behavior of me doing exposures. It led to the emotion of less anxiety and more evidence-based thinking, yeah. So, I really think that's an issue to deal with. I mean, for someone who had that drastic change in behaviors, I say it's drastic. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know all the answers. I mean, I've been doing these exposures, and I know basically just about exposures. I know about exposures and how to do an exposure, how to face your fear, how to know that the anxiety is going to come down. It's going to peak at a certain point, and once you recognize that peak, as Dr. China said in that Obsessed anything, once you recognize the peak, once you recognize that it's going to come down, you recognize that it has really no power over you. It's just a function of how much you want to engage with it. Right, the anxiety. So Okay. I'm not sure. Like, it feels. Hold on a second. I am gonna go to my car because I feel like I can vlog better in my car. I can smoke. So I'll just like end here and actually, you know what? Just give me a second. I'll just take 2 seconds. It's just that, I live with other people and I don't really like kind of talking. Like it's I just don't like talking. Like when there's other people, I'd rather just be in my own type of place. Just give me a second. Muslim, so I say prayer when I enter the car and everything. It's, sorry, I know. I hate saying that. I hate saying sorry. I mean, what I want to do is kind of make this a kind of like just a pure psychology channel. So thoughts coming to me. I know I was going to talk about something else, but thoughts coming to me. Oh, forgot my lighter. This is awesome. My stepbrother wanted to use my lighter yesterday, and he left it on the table, and I forgot about it, so I shall return. Go. Right, I remember what I was really talking about now. Exposures. How to deal with your fears and your anxiety. Alright, so that's all I really know about exposure. That's all I really know about. I'm trying to branch out to other topics. It's just, I started this project simply by YouTubing exposure therapy and just watching every video from the beginning one, next popular one, next relevant, for about, I want to say 3 months straight. Until I got the idea and it clicked in me. Also through like behaviors of applying what I've done, what exposure therapy is, to the point where I can actually teach it now. I can teach it to people. I can't necessarily get them to do it. I can teach it to them though, because a part of it is you need to do it yourself. So, or part of it is, anyway. Oh, feeling dread right now. Feeling real dread. All right. So with this being said here, I want to talk about my behavior. Well, first let's talk. Yeah, my behavior changes. It feels like, as I said, I'm not praying. It just goes down to this idea of being gay and Muslim, right? What does that mean to me? Sure, one can make the argument that I'm not praying because of, people say many things. They say evil spirits, the devil. Okay, it's definitely a possibility. Let's not discount it. It's it's one of those things, like, you can't really falsify it, nor can you really make it true. It's one of those things you need to just believe in. like you're believing in God. You believe in the devil. You just believe in it, and then your beliefs can shape that. Other thing is, you know what I mean? Like, beliefs can shape. If you believe in the devil, you can say the devil's not making me pray. I mean, then there's also the idea of, well, perhaps it's, you know, because of, for me at least, I have this idea that, you know, gay Muslims, like me specifically, had to go through a lot to, you know, be where I am now, where I'm okay with it. You know, I mean, it's not a topic, as my therapist would say, that you want to bring up or that they want to discuss. I mean, like, people from the Indian subcontinent, Muslim people, or even to think a little more generally, traditional cultures, right? We don't really think about that, so, you know, and it's good. I mean, for some people, I believe. I mean, it's hard to explain these personal, very personal emotions that are coming to me. Like, on the one hand, I think, well, you know, God's got to explain something to me. I mean, what was he thinking, making me a gay Muslim, or making any gay Muslims? And then a part of me thinks, you know, part of me thinks that it's okay. I mean, another part of me thinks self-hatred. You know, a good Muslim who has these desires, and you guys understand where the rest comes from, right? If not, I'll explain it to you. A lot of Muslims will tell you a good Muslim doesn't have really sexual desires, you know, unless it's with their wife, right? Or for your woman, for your husband. And if you have these desires, anything from masturbation to, you know, gay sex, they all see it as the same spectrum. In a way, they see it as almost the same thing. I remember, and I feel scared saying this, because I fear my brother's gonna choke, simply because for me thinking this. It's very odd how the choking is, it's almost like, I don't know, choking becomes, I'm not sure, sort of metaphor for, anyway, so, I introduced my boyfriend to him, and he said to me, I think pretty much right in front of my boyfriend's face, and this happened years and years ago, at least 12 years ago, he said to me, "You can get a girl." As if that was what I was, I guess, wanting. If that's what I was really doing. I was acting out being gay. In reality, I really just wanted a girl. Like, I'm bisexual, so I already knew I could get a girl. I guess what he's trying to say is, don't go down that path. They're really, you know. The thing people talk about gay people in the Indian subcontinent is just horrible. I mean, they talk about them like they're less than people. They talk about them like they're these prostitutes, for instance. I'll give you an example. I confided in a friend of mine who is not a friend of mine anymore, but another friend of mine who's a mutual friend of mine, a mutual friend of all of ours, that I thought he was hitting on me. And I was asking this friend of mine, do you think it's kind of, you know, do you think he is? And bear in mind, everybody in this conversation, me, my friend who I'm asking advice from, and the friend who I think is hitting on me, are all, you know, from the Indian subcontinent, Pakistani, basically. And he just looked at me like, You gotta be kidding me. Incredulous is the word that comes to mind. Just incredible incredulousness. Like, I can't believe what's coming out of my mouth. I mean, what's coming out of this guy's mouth. What did you say? You know, like, exactly what did you say? Nizam, right? Like, what are you talking about? What exactly did you mean by that? Are you serious? Are you seriously saying you're asking me for dating advice? I mean, first of all, it's unthinkable for you to date a guy. Second off, in the Indian subcontinent? No. And third off, you know, what makes you think I'm, you know, I guess okay with that? I repeated myself there. Yeah. So, you know, it's like, what do you expect to do in a situation like that? Anyway, so I have these thoughts, and you know, it just it's kind of sucks when you have to deal with this yourself. I mean, a lot of people want to do things with other people. They want to share experiences with other people. That's what makes the world go around. Unfortunately, when you're coming out as bisexual to a Pakistani family that is, I would say, definitely not untraditional, somewhat traditional. I would say somewhat religious. That no one's gonna have your corner, no one's gonna have your back. Now, this goes to another question that I see on Reddit a lot. I'm gonna kind of just segue into that. Being a gay Muslim, and there's people that on Reddit, I don't even know if I should be saying this. There's people on Reddit that are like, can I have some advice? Like, I'm a gay Muslim and I'm coming out. Should I have some advice? Like, should I? Yada, yada, yada. My advice is to not come out to your family and your parents ever. I mean, it's not gonna help you mentally. If you're okay with who you are, then you don't need anybody else to, you know, say, good job, you're doing okay, that's great. Self-worth comes from high self-esteem. So if you keep thinking, what are they going to say, what are they going to do, and it's all going to be negative, I mean, 95% of the chance it is going to be negative. It's never been, I mean, in my opinion, I have this filter of my experiences. It feels to me like you don't want to be in a situation where you're gonna have to necessarily want to, I don't know, come out to your parents. I mean, it was a horrible experience for me. I mean, one that if I could go back in time, I'd probably just lie and say I have a girlfriend, you know, and then right, just never bring her home. And when they finally ask why, you know, I'd be like, well, you know, come with another lie. And I know it sucks to be stressed out like that, and some person just wants to like get it off their chest. But your parents aren't going to be understanding. They aren't. I mean, from my opinion, if I can extrapolate other parents, I'd be surprised if the first or other month was I accept you totally and I love you and I've known it from the beginning. No, it's not gonna be like that. Okay, so did the exposure talk a little about panic disorder, talk a little bit about me being gay and how that fits into my anxiety and my behavioral changes? Gosh, I don't even want to. This video sounds so dumb. I don't know if I want to make this video. It really just feels dumb. And this anxiety, though, man, this is how anxiety makes you feel. This is how this is. But I'm telling you, this is how anxiety is. I mean, the past couple days I've been having really just. You sit with your thoughts so much, so you don't really, you just don't know what to do. And that's why I am vlogging, because it helps. Just telling people of my life. What am I going to do later? Later, I'm going to do nothing. I'm just going to just live my life. Just do my thing, And I want to go back to work soon. As I said, though, the only thing I really know about is exposure. A little bit about thinking errors. I just clicked my teeth or did that. We were like, oh, I shouldn't do that. I remember one person said, don't do that. It's like rude. Like, okay, it's rude. Anyway, this video is just me ranting more and more. I mean, the main point of this video I want to show you guys is kind of like the success, no, not the success story, the kind of what happens when you do exposures over and over again. You get bored of your exposures, and that's the key. Once you get bored of them, you start hitting zeros. I mean, that's when you succeeded. That's when you said, okay, your anxiety level is at a manageable level. So it is. I mean, that's the truth. The behaviors that one has with anxiety, though. I mean, when one, I guess, successfully, to a certain extent, has their choking anxiety under control, there are different behaviors when someone does it. For example, you wouldn't pray so much. Like, I would pray specifically so that I wouldn't have to deal with my choking phobia. I would just assume, since I prayed so much, God's got my back. First of all, you don't know what God's thinking. Right? You don't know what God's thinking. So and in Islam, anxiety is treated a bit differently. Islam anxiety basically boils down to, Islam is I don't know if I want to say it's anti-modern, it's anti-new. Islam is an inherently conservative religion that was radical when it was created. It's an inherently conservative religion. It was radical when it was created, though. If you look at the history of Islam as a radical religion was created, you have the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Peace be upon him, saying, you know, everyone around him was worshiping all these idols, and he said that we should only worship one God, no idols. That was a radical statement, radical ideas, radical beliefs. Islam is conservative, though, in terms of morals and morality, right? It follows very much like the Jewish tradition of those morals and mores, sexual mores and all that. You know, it fits within the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic branch of morality, which I subscribe to. It's a big branch, though. I mean, it gets conservative. I'm overthinking myself. I'm just overthinking too much right now. Yeah, I mean, it's overthinking. I mean, I've been feeling really, really restless the past couple days, just freaking out, thinking, you know, do I have anxiety? Do I have what's it called? COVID-19 and whatnot. I was trying to smoke a joint. I'm also trying to vlog here. So oh yeah. Different behaviors I had. Number 1, stop praying. Number 2, kind of started taking my mental health seriously by doing exposures on a regular basis. Every day I would say I'm going to do one. And it was almost as if as if I'm taking my, you know, I have to pray, that level of desire, that level of I got to do it with my mental health. So what happens is one of them, it becomes, for me at least, to me, I mean, the question becomes, well, why, how can I justify not praying? How can I justify my moral beliefs, some might even say it seems like a generalization, so I won't. I mean, how do you reconcile this modern belief of, say, gay marriage, or even that homosexuals are inherently just people, with the belief that they should be I mean, at the very least, coaxed to convert, at the very most, shunned and stoned. And that's the sad truth. I live in a religion where people take the scriptures and say it's okay to stone gay people and cut their heads off and stuff. Like, I don't know where in the scripture it says that. I mean, it just... really. So, yeah. God. Alright, what I'm gonna start doing now is making less videos and getting an iPad so I can kind of like have another screen to like talk about things to people, because this is like, I don't really know what else to talk about unless I have a screen. I'll give you an example though. Like, take example of Pakistan and the interest, the banning of interest in Pakistan. It's a great example of how trying to put into practice this Islamic ideal is comes up against, you know, Muslims already having a sort of ad hoc, de jure, you know, type of already system in place of economics. And it seems like you're basically saying all these people didn't really consider Islam when they were making their economics. Like, for example, the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and there's all history of this, of how this guy tried to force interest, because in Islam, interest is prohibited. So this guy got elected to Pakistan, which is an Islamic republic, right? And said, okay, we're going to ban interest. And so the question becomes, well, I mean, he was elected in 1970, so he was like, you know, a second or third prime minister. What were the first and second prime ministers doing if we call this an Islamic republic and everything, and we base it on Islam? It almost feels like Islam is being used to further a traditional, to further a goal, which is to get, you know, the orthodoxy, conservative people on their side, to do whatever they want to do. They're just using it to get into power. Because in reality, when that guy got into power, his name's Zia al-Haq. When Zia got into power and tried to ban interest, it didn't work out. The Supreme Court said you can't do this because the Pakistani economy is so welded into the international economy, it just wouldn't work. And so we come up with these really, really like interesting ideas of how to deal with it. Interest on a national level, though, it seems more like, I mean, Pakistan, people wanted this Islamic Republic, Pakistani flag, go Pakistan, green, you know, the flag and everything. No one really thought and said, well, how do we sit down and actually do this like the way the Prophet would, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And instead we just kind of did ad hoc, de jure, this and that. So when a religious, when a religious, quote-unquote, leader comes to power and says, I want to bring Pakistan to the true Islamic morals, I mean, what's different than what that is now? And they say, well, it's interest. We'll say, well, okay, then ban it. And they say, oh, we can't already. We've kind of already gotten there. It's too late. The cat's out of the bag. Our economy is so much welded into the international banking system. We can't just say, okay, Pakistan is going to have zero interest now. I mean, you just can't do that. I mean, it could cause the collapse of the economy. And so then there's some scholars that say, well, you know, it's okay to have interest. And others say, no, it's wrong. And there's others that say, so it basically comes down to the scholar you want to listen to, or, you know, because it looks like, to me, I could make a bigger video on this, that in Pakistan, this whole idea of, you know, Islamization, you know, like, where's this Islamization coming from? Like, it seems more like just a power grab. I mean, because he didn't succeed, and also, like, interest is still in Pakistan. He didn't succeed, and also it seems like, it just, like, if he was really genuine, I mean, it's hard to say if he was genuine or if he was just using some religious opinions. Like, I don't know, it's a very touchy subject, you know, it's very touchy. You don't want to, you know, offend anybody, so I'll leave it at that. All right. So, and for the person who asked me, can you send me that video? It's in the description. Just a quick summary of it. It's a definition of how to do an exposure through something known as graduated exposure hierarchies, where you write down your list of fears from like not even scary to very scary. Just write them all down in any order, and then rank them, right? And start with the lowest one, and then rank that one from 0 to 100, doing it, right? Then the next one, 0 to 100, doing it. Once you build yourself up to that level, and that's how you'll see your irrational fears of, for example, choking, dogs, falling, whatever phobia you have, social interactions will come down. All right. I know I covered a lot in this video. It's just more of as I said, these are rants. They're more for me. I mean, if people see them, that's great. I want to help people with psychology. So yeah. So, I mean, end it here. Not much else to really say. Alright. Remember, guys, stay away. That went from 0 and didn't really count it after that because it was 0.